All right, Team Aaptiv. My name is John. I'm here with the amazing and super talented Brett Eldredge. Brett, thank you so much for taking time to join us today. I have to
Glad to
say,
join you.
I've been a huge fan of your work. I have a workout on Aaptiv called Country Countdown. And in the final song, we sprint to your song, Something I'm Good At. So
Nice.
I've been a big fan, and I love that song because it has this trick ending. And so it was like this awesome moment for the users to experience. I'm so honored to get some time to talk and speak with you today. How are you?
I'm great, man. That's exciting. I didn't know. I'm gonna have to do that workout now. It'd be weird working out to myself, but I'll try it. I'm good, man. I am just enjoying being in Nashville a little bit and adapting to the world and just kind of trying to be active.
Right. Well, how has life been in quarantine? I know you've just came off a tour a few months ago. How has the adjustment been from being all over the world to where you are now?
Yeah, it was weird. I started the year out in Europe on a European tour, and it was an amazing start and getting to start to play this new music a little bit and kind of get everything together. And the crowds were huge and passionate, and we're so excited for the year. And then everything just kind of goes frozen when I got home, and it was a strange experience, but I was glad I got to play some music and I've just been trying to take this time now that we're all into kind of be easy on myself a little bit, not try to I'm a very much perfectionist in some way, a recovering perfectionist, I would say, where I'm always trying to like do everything and I'll feel bad if I'm just sitting around. Oh, did I lose you? All right.
You're all good.
I'm trying to do everything to where I feel bad if I'm sitting around and not doing stuff. But then I realize, it's okay to watch Netflix. It's okay to play video games, but also I got to get in work. And I got to get in work, and I got to, go out and work out. I've done I trained for a half marathon during all this. And so I ran a half marathon, and there aren't any marathons right now, but I did one anyways on my own. I did a half marathon, which I'd never really been a runner, and somehow I got into it, and it was I just wanted to learn some resilience through all this and kind of find something to lean into when the times are tough. It was like, I want to try something that I can really strive for that I've never really accomplished. So it was really hard to not have people around me like yelling and the whole experience of a marathon and all that, but I really loved what I did for the mental aspect. And so I've done that. I've been playing piano, trying to learn piano a lot more, learning all my new songs on guitar, and then talking about my music. So it's kind of what I've been doing.
I mean, it sounds like you just have everything in spades. You've got your life lined up. That's awesome.
I'm trying to. But then in the meantime, sometimes I play Xbox and I watch movies too. So I don't try to make it all like I'm getting stuff done. I take a little time for myself, and that's fun too.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to forgive yourself and give yourself some credit wherever you need it.
Yeah.
So congrats on your new album, Sunday Drive. Now is an interesting time to release and plan an album release.
Oh, man.
How has this one been different than the previous ones?
For me, it's well, for one, like you and I'd probably be interviewing together in person, or like normally, like I'm used to like I'm a week and a half out from my album launch, so in the next week I'd be in New York doing all the morning shows and the late night tonight shows and all that stuff, and it's just a different time where you can't do that. So it's been different in that aspect, but I've been, everybody in the world's getting creative and adapting to the game and adapting to get the music out there. And so I've promoted it way different in a way than I ever have, but I'm getting so much amazing response, and I think amazing connection with my fans and the media and everything, because I think everybody is looking for some substance and some good stuff to talk about. And I this album, I think, has got a lot of things that puts life into perspective a lot, and that's what I wanted to do with the music. So I think it's been good for that.
Absolutely. I was able to get a little bit of a sneak peek of the album, and the first song, "Where the Heart Is," I will honestly tell you, I had goosebumps listening to that opening lyric. What in the world? What in the world are we doing here? What do we see? What do we see when we look in the mirror? To me, that opening statement is huge. And instead of rushing to the next lyric, you let the fans sit with that cerebral guitar melody. And I think it's very similar to how you created this album, which was different than albums in the past. Talk about that creative process in the manifestation of Sunday Drive.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of disrupt what I've always done to create albums. You know, as someone who's studied a lot of psychology over the last years and trying to get my mental health to where I wanted to and in my life where I wanted to, I've learned more and more just how much you got to go outside that comfort zone to really find the beauty in the things and find life really. And so, all my music has been recorded in Nashville and it's been amazing. But I wanted to go dig a little deeper. I wanted to go to my hometown. I wanted to go to Chicago where I spent a lot of my time, and I wanted to go somewhere where I'm not walking down the street seeing people I know. I don't want to worry about what other people are thinking or saying I should or whatever. Not that they don't matter to me, but it was like I needed to figure out what I wanted to say. And so it was kind of a crazy idea to go to Chicago and not in Music City and make an album, but it was so powerful, such a powerful experience to do that because I got the time to really think through each song. I was living there for weeks at a time, and spending a whole day on one song and sometimes multiple days, and just really digging into this music and giving it the time to breathe and make sure it was something that I felt I poured my whole soul into. Because sometimes in Nashville, you're making an album, you record several songs in a day, and it's just kind of the formula. And I wanted to go against the formula in life a little bit, just in general, not just with making this album, but everything.
Yeah, and I think it does have a different body, a different experience when you listen to it all the way through. I'm a big fan of hearing an album from start to finish rather than just listening to a single. I know we're in 2020 and 2.5 minutes is your golden time, but I think an artist has such a fun opportunity to say something over the course of an album. What do you want your fans to learn or lean into or take away from this project?
I think because it was such a self-reflective album for me, and I have to go to a real place for me in my heart before I can pour it out there for hopefully relate to everyone else. Because if I'm just telling a story and I didn't really live it and I didn't believe it, and you wouldn't believe it, and you wouldn't be able to make it part of your life. And I do this for me to heal in ways, but I really do it for others, and I think that's where I had to go. I had to find that depth and to be able to get it out there. And I want people to take away that kind of place I went of kind of being self-aware of, if I'm singing a love song, it's more the reality of where I am at with love, and not diving too deep into feeling shame from that or whatever. It's like, okay, maybe I haven't found love exactly, but that's okay. I've had glimpses of it, and then I'm just looking at it a different way from ways in the past that I've recorded. And also with the songs, there's a lot of songs about life and kind of finding the magic in life, like where the heart is, where it's like, remember what it was like when you first found that spark, in your life. And it was like Disney. It's like Disney World, it's like you don't know what it's like to be an adult and peek behind the curtain and see all the moving parts. You just see the magic. And I think there's a way to get back to that magic. And I think you kind of have to rewire your mind and your heart a little bit. And I think when you find that and realize you're that same kid, that same person as you were, when the world was all so much mystery and mystique to it, I think that's a beautiful place to get back to. And so I think this record's a lot about that, about putting life into perspective, like with the song Sunday Drive, of realizing these moments are flying past, and some days you just want that day to be over, and you never think that you're going to grow up, but next thing you know you're grown up, and you're seeing your family get older, and you're seeing all this fly by, and you realize the only moment you have is right now. And so there's a lot of that perspective in this album that I think I'd like people to just, in a time like this where we're all kind of in a place of seeing the world kind of in a crazy place, and it's like, let's find the goodness in our heart and with each other and really pull our our hearts together and make these moments count. I think that's important.
I agree. I think what's awesome about country music is that its essence is great storytelling. And I think you're an excellent storyteller. Who are some of your favorite artists or storytellers that influenced you as a writer?
Well, I get inspired by writers a lot, as well, of course, of artists, but like writers, Nashville is just not far from, where you're sitting. There's 10 people probably right now, like within a few blocks of me, writing songs right now, and that's really inspiring to me. And some of my favorite people are the songwriters, like Sunday Drive, the song. It's the only song I didn't write in the album, but it was a song that I learned about 12 years ago, and I loved it so much, and it felt like it was my life, and I could relate my life to it. And this guy named Barry Dean was one of the writers on it, and I just loved it. And I loved when I heard it as just an intern, like fresh, in college, right out of college, being an intern, and you hear this song, you're like, wow, these people are my heroes. These are the people that I want to do this, and so the songwriters, but like I'm a huge Elton John fan, Billy Joel, Ray Charles, Frank Sinatra. A lot of these artists, even from the past of times where I just like to see the roads that they took and the ups and downs they went through, and realize, of seeing them make it through and all those hard times. You can hear it in the lyrics and their songs, and I just think it's good to have people to look up to create your music from. And I listened for this record. I listened to a lot of like Jackson Browne and the band, and a lot of like 70s music, and so I just kind of Brooks and Dunn from country music, and Vince Gill. It's kind of all over the board. I'm just kind of but that's what I love about it. I love so many different kinds of music.
That's great. I love that myself. We have a couple of things in common. I went to school for songwriting back in the day before I was really pursuing fitness, and I agree. I think the songwriting art is so fun. I love Stevie Wonder, Joni Mitchell. It's like I remember studying these songs and the beauty of songwriting. And you're not a writer just for yourself. You write for others as well. Talk about that experience when you're writing for yourself versus writing for someone else. Is there a different process that you go through?
I don't think so. I mean, I know there are writers in town that's like, okay, Kenny Chesney has a project. This is the kind of song he's looking for. Let's write that. But it's hard for me to do that, because if I feel like I'm on a schedule that I'm supposed to follow, then I'm very all over the place when I write. So I'm pacing the room. I start like 5 different songs in a write almost every time. And so that's kind of my process. And if I have to like just focus on one thing to try to write for and say this has got to be for this person, then I think it just never really works for me. I have to write it from a place that means something to me. And then I think, when that happens, I think if it doesn't fit the project that I'm on, and I know it's a great song, then I think, it's amazing to see what other artists take and put their spin on a song and kind of make it their own. Just like I've only recorded a couple of songs that I didn't write, but each one of those, I felt like they spoke to me in a way, and I want to just make it so honest and truthful that it speaks to another artist that way, and they want to record it and make it, make it from their soul, and passing it on through the connection of that. I think it's a really powerful thing as a songwriter. It's just so much fun to get to see somebody else's perspective of something that you went through, and also then become something that they went through.
That's true. I think songwriting is a very giving art. You're able to share your experiences. You can share with other writers. You can share with the listeners, your fans. It's a very wonderful experience. When you're not writing or performing, what are some of your hobbies?
I like to hike a lot, so I go on a lot of hikes. It's a big thing for me. Every morning I go on a hike, almost every morning, and just kind of get out and let my mind do whatever my mind's going to do, and see the beauty of nature. And I love to fish. I just went deep sea fishing recently, and caught a bunch of fish doing that. I like to fly fish in the streams. I'm a pretty outdoors person. And then now I've just picked up running, and do a lot of that, and then, exercise and working out, and meditation. It's something I'm passionate, and I guess it's kind of a hobby. I don't know what you call that. This is a lifestyle, I guess, really. But yeah, I'd say just being outdoors is a big thing for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw on your Instagram that you ran a half marathon in May. Tell me about your training experience or the race itself and the overall journey you went through.
I had a friend that was a big cross country guy through the years, and he's like one of those guys that'll run those ultra marathons and stuff. It's insane. I think it's crazy to be able to run that far. I want to be able to do that, but I'm so inspired by people that do that. But my process was, I think the farthest I was ever really running in my life was maybe 5-6 miles ever. And that wasn't like consistent. I've always been a very active working out person, but I just never ran really far. And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna try something different. And I got this. He sent me this program that kind of started me out. 3 miles on Tuesday, 4 miles on Wednesday, 3 miles on Thursday, Friday off, Saturday, like 5 miles. And then I just, by the week, as this quarantine was going on, it would keep ticking up to where, next thing I do, I'm running 8 miles on Saturday. And then all of a sudden I'm running 10, and, I'm like, oh my God, I'm almost to a half marathon. And the mental aspect of it all is what really did it for me. Cause I'm, somebody who's dealt with, anxieties and worries in my life. And I wanted to find some resilience of, if you put into perspective of when you're running and your mind starts to give up on yourself, it's not usually your body, it's usually your mind a lot of the time. And I wanted to find that extra gear, that extra resilience of when I'm 6 miles in and I still got, another 6 or 7 to go. And my mind's saying, oh, your mind tries to make deals with yourself. It's trying to be like, oh, you ran this hard. You could slow down for a little bit, or you could stop or whatever and just pick up. And of course you're not going to stop, or at least you're not going to try to let yourself stop. And I think that's what I would do, is I would lean into, the things that I've worried about, or the bullies in life, or whatever, people bringing you down, whatever. And instead of, you lean into that and you use that as your superpower. And that's what I did, as a runner. And that's where I found the most mental strength in all of it. And it made me really change my perspective on life a lot, even just running. And I always heard about that, but once I experienced it, now I'm hooked on it.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, I think mindfulness is so important, and it's essential way of like really expressing like that clearest form of your best self, and I think there's a way of channeling that whenever you're doing fitness, whenever you're creative as well. Do you find a way to tie it into your creative process?
Yeah, it's usually good for me to not be overly stimulated before I write. Like, I need to slow down a little bit and get into a spot. So like before I write, sometimes I'll do a meditation, or I did, like this morning before we were doing these interviews, I went on a mindfulness walk. So I went for a walk, and you pay attention to, it's not all about just sitting on a cushion or a chair or whatever. You can do it anywhere. And mindful walking, I was just, listening to the birds, feeling my feet, on the pavement, all these different things. And it's just kind of a way for me. I do that a lot. Like when I was in Chicago, that's what I would do before every day recording. I'd just go on these long walks, and I'd try to be there in the moment of just, looking around me and hearing and seeing, and oh wow, you always forget that you're actually alive sometimes, because you numb yourself with all these thoughts you have in your head, And when you don't want to feel those things, you flip to your phone and you start staring at that or whatever. It's like we have so many distractions in life that sometimes it's good to just go on a walk and look around and feel and be there. And so doing that and then going into recording and writing and stuff like that, I think makes me a better creative person. And I try to be mindful of that.
That's awesome. I'm curious, last year you teamed up with Andy Roddick and his foundation to play some tennis.
Yeah.
Are you a big tennis fan? And when y'all played, did you end up returning his world record?
Yeah, I was really nervous about that because I am a tennis fan, but I have no tennis experience. We didn't have it growing up where I was from a really small town. I didn't even know where to stand when he was. And so if you watch the video, there's a video of it on there, but he's like the hardest serving men's tennis player ever, I think, or one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, he's up there.
So, I thought it was going to be like kind of hit it hard, but not his hardest. No, he wanted to make it hard for me to return. And I'm standing there, like standing on the line. I didn't realize you're like supposed to stand way back. And he's just pummeling him. And I'm trying, I made contact with one and it went behind me and almost hit a lady. Like it was just, it was crazy how hard he could hit it. And I had such respect of what they do, tennis players and just other people in their crafts. I love to see what other people do. Like, then I was trying to teach him how to play guitar and he couldn't do that for anything either. So it made me feel good. Like, okay, you do your thing and I do my thing. And that's awesome. It's fun that we all kind of come from different walks of life doing different things. And that was exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome. I played tennis in college and I really enjoyed, that's what got me here to New York. And I feel like, they say like in order to become a master at whatever craft, they say it's like 10 years or 10,000 hours. And that's how long at least you've been a performer, a creator. So your debut album was in 2010 and now we're in 2020. What's next in your, master craft of songwriting and performing?
I think next for me, it's so interesting because, now I'm right here on the brink of putting out my album and it's hard for me to start writing for another album yet until I get to, because you put so much of your soul into it, you want to, it's not as new for you anymore, but the discovery for your fans to discover it is new for them. And that's what brings new life of seeing how they take it into their lives. And that's when I start getting inspired to the direction I'm going and kind of, then it starts opening me up to, okay, man, I and just seeing the reaction so far on this has been incredible. So I'm already starting to get inspired, by the few songs I put out. And so unveiling it to my fans and getting them to hear it and really take it in and hopefully relate to their lives and seeing that's where then all of a sudden here in the next few months, I'll probably start thinking, okay, I'm going to start writing for my next album and gearing up for whenever we're able to get out there and play again. I'll be ready, and my band is chomping at the bit to get out there. And so when it's healthy and safe and right to do it, we're going to be out there and we'll be ready. But in the meantime, I'm going to be playing piano, and I didn't know how to play piano before the quarantine, and then I learned my new song, Sunday Drive. I sat down and I learned that. I just play it every night before I go to bed. That's what I did. I go sit by. I play guitar all the time on stage and accompany myself, but I've never really been a piano player. So at the start of quarantine, I sat down and said, all right, I'm going to learn a song. And I didn't know how, and now I can play all of a song and just a few months. So every night before I go to bed, it kind of relaxes my mind. And then I wake up the next day and I accomplished, playing piano, and then I just kept growing and getting better at it. So
nice. Well, congrats. That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like especially in this quarantine time, like the way to get through this is to have things to look forward to or to learn things that are new. So that's an awesome way to, bide the time and just keep trucking along. So usually at this time, we have artists participate in a rapid fire challenge, but we wanted to do something a little bit different because I know you love mindfulness and meditation. I know this is a passion of yours, running that half marathon with that in mind. I'm going to let you take over a little moment of mindfulness. So thank you so much, Brett, for joining us. And Team Aaptiv, be sure to check out the Country Collection. Check out that Country Countdown. You've got Brett right there at the finale. And Brett's new album, as well as a playlist takeover by himself on Spotify. Sunday Drive. It's legit. I checked it out. Be sure to check it out yourself. Brett, take it away.
All right, let's do this.
All right, so what we're going to do here is a little meditation. I am no meditation master, but I do know that it is a powerful thing that you can add to your life. 5 minutes. We'll do a 5-minute one. And it's, if you've never meditated or anything, it's not like some crazy thing where you start going like this and floating in the air or anything. It's very much just centering yourself on a crazy day. So if you just sit down somewhere like this, cushion, couch, chair, anywhere. Some people lay down. I think it's good to be kind of upright and present for it. So anyway, sit there. You can close your eyes. Some people like to focus on your breath. If you want to focus on your breath and feel the air come out your nose or out your mouth. If you don't want to focus on your breath always, you can focus on the cushion or the chair that you're sitting on. Feel your back against the chair. Feel the tingling sensations maybe in your hands or your feet, and the oxygen going through you. You can feel that energy. You can feel that, and the main thing is to get the focus off your thoughts. When you feel the thoughts come into your head, you just say, "Oh, that's just thinking." You note it. You say, "That's thinking. I'm just thinking." And you go back to focusing on the chair, the seat, the breath. For me, some people do a count of like in for 4, hold your breath for 4, out for 4. Sometimes for me, I can get focusing too much on that and just trying to breathe naturally. So if you want to do 4 in, hold for 4 and 4 out, that's good. Or if you just want to breathe naturally like how you would. It's good to know while the world is kind of moving fast around you, and there's a lot of uncertainty right now, and a lot of pain going on, and a lot of just hurt and worries in your heart and your mind and everything. It's good to know you can center yourself anytime, even if you just got a couple minutes, just sitting like this and just putting your focus on taking the time for yourself, and it's a powerful thing. It's good to sometimes send a little love to yourself. I've heard it said a lot of different ways, but send some self-love, like may I be happy, may I be peaceful, may I live with ease. And just kind of repeat that over and over and take a breath. May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be peaceful, may I live with ease. Send yourself some compassion, some love. You're hard on yourself a lot, and it's good to be gentle with yourself. It's a tough world out there, and you're tough on yourself, but you got a good soul, and remind yourself of that. maybe send out love to someone. Think of someone that you really care about, and send out some love to them, and really see them and feel them, needing that love, and say, may you be happy, may you be peaceful, may you be healthy, may you live at ease, and really feel that, and feel that care for them, and you want to give that to yourself. When you feel that way for them, you know that you're treating your friend the way that you want to treat yourself, the way you treat a good friend. And as you go out this day, just that you took this time for yourself, and you have good intentions to know that when these things come at you, and when life comes at you, just take a little break from it every once in a while. And when you're not taking a break, just be mindful that you can focus on the breath, you can focus on your feet on the ground, you can focus on the fact that you're here and you're alive, and there's oxygen and air going through your lungs, and that's life, and you got this opportunity to be the best version of yourself, and to help others, and go out there and take on the world, and make it a good day. Take one last breath. And open your eyes, feel your feet and your hands, and wiggle your toes, whatever it is, and see that you're back here on earth. Look around you, see the things, look out the window, see the trees, and see the life, and go out there and have a great day. Thanks for meditating with me. Even if I can do it, you can do it, because I don't really know what I'm doing, but I love to do it. So, and I don't think anybody really knows what they're doing with it. It's all about just taking that time. There's no way to master it. There's no way to, when you feel like you're not doing great with it or whatever, that's just even more reason to just keep going through the repetition of it. Next thing you know, you're going to be a meditator. It's great. We'll see it.